Hi there, my name's Robin. Welcome to this interview with a good friend of ours. We at the Silver Lining Project, where our vision and our values are to serve first, add value, and get results. And someone who knows how to do that is my guest. But before we get into that, the reason we're doing this interview is at the Silver Lining Project, we recognize the value that women play in our community, in particular in professional speaking, coaching and training, and people with an online business, an information product business. It's a real privilege to introduce to you Candice Schultz. She's a lawyer and a deal maker and a friend of the project. And it's a real pleasure to say thanks, Candice, for some time that you can share with us to just celebrate your journey as a woman in business and why Women's Month is so important to us. Thank you, Candice.
Thanks, Rob, and I feel really privileged to actually have this opportunity to share a little of myself for the project. So thank you very much.
We set out a couple of questions, and one of the things we wanted to ask women in business like yourself is, it's really challenging for a woman to be in business today. What has been one of the most significant challenges that you have faced on your journey or on your path so far?
Wow, Robin, I think the biggest challenge for me has definitely been the glass ceiling that I have placed on my success as a result of my limiting beliefs, as well as the limiting beliefs that other people have about me in terms of my role in business as a woman. For a very long time, I actually believed that, yes, I could participate in business as a woman, but provided that it was as a supporting role to a leading man in business. And then, unfortunately, this was actually exacerbated in terms of the personal relationships that I had as well. So, my partners didn't have a problem with me being in business, but it was provided that I'd reached a certain level of success and no more. So I was faced with obstacles such as having my business actually taken away from me by one of my partners, and very often really just consciously deciding not to take that next step in terms of reaching a next level of success to make my partner feel more comfortable about who they are.
What I heard you describe there is how it makes me feel that society has shaped and trained men who are unaware, or they're not consciously doing it, but they're forcing women around them into a preconditioned or an expectation of what a woman can or cannot do in business. And I heard you describe something about how you've had to face this challenge.
Absolutely, Robin. I mean, I was actually shocked when this really came into my reality so blatantly about 2 years ago, when I decided to resign and just take the next step in my career and go out there and do large transactions on my own rather than being a 2IC to other people. And I was really excited about this, and I got a phone call from a friend who also happens to be a client, who said he wanted to take me out for lunch. And of course, I thought we were going to be popping this champagne and having a celebratory lunch at my bold move, until he communicated during lunch that he thought and he believed that I was making the biggest mistake of my life. Because as a woman in business doing large transactions, I will fail, because I will not be supported out there in those large deals unless I'm pursuing the agenda of another male. And I was absolutely perplexed, and I couldn't believe that this was coming from somebody that I'd supported in business for a very long time. And I started throwing out names and saying, but what about this one? And what about this one? And he said to me, wait 1 minute. Every single one of those women have been placed there by a man. And he truly believed this, that no woman had really, done anything on her own bat. And I was certainly not capable of doing that by the mere fact that I was a woman. And of course, I was absolutely gutted at this. And it took me a good couple of days of doubting my decision and so forth, just to really regroup, until I really made that final decision and even communicated it back to him that I am capable of achieving anything that I set to my mind to. I will achieve my goals. I am an outlier, and there is nothing in terms of who I am that is going to hold me back, because I know who I am, and I am capable of greatness just as much as any other male counterpart of mine.
That's fabulous to hear your response to that. And it just reminds me of why today we celebrate Women's Month and what so many women back then did on to secure the rights and the freedom and the status of women. But there's something more in there that I heard you describe. You had an opportunity, Candice, to buy that guy's dream, to buy into his paradigm, but something deep down inside helped you not do that. So my question is, what did you have to do, or what did you do to keep your dream alive, to keep your ideal and your vision in front of you so that it's helped you get to where you are today?
Well, Robin, I think it's something that's really important for each and every one of us to do, is to embrace our passion, to know who we are, and to be authentic in who and what we are. And what I do is I really do on a daily basis things to just keep my mind on track. You know, I make sure that I have a positive outlook. I make sure that I uproot all of those negative thoughts. I make sure that I do my mantras. I make sure that I have my vision board and I set my goals. These are all active things, just as much if you want to have a great body, you need to go to the gym. You can't just fantasize about it. And it's exactly the same in business. You know, you've got to take those steps towards it, and you've got to train your mind into really making sure that you're achieving those goals, because there will always be those people, no matter whether you're a male or a female, there are going to be the naysayers. There are going to be the people that saying it's the wrong time in terms of the economy, you're the wrong color, you're the wrong gender, and you have to be strong in your resolve to know who you are and to know what you're capable of. And I believe that if you have a dream in your heart, that dream hasn't just been placed there because you can't achieve it. It's there because you can. You just have to reach out for it and achieve it.
That sounds awesome. You sounded like a lady who has taken back control, or rather has not let go of the control of her own future and her own vision. Here's a question. Has it been worth it?
Sure. Oh gosh, I cannot tell you. Since I've made this shift and really deciding to follow who I am and to say that I am worth it. My dreams are worth it. My perspective, my values, my goals, you know, putting myself first. And it's not that you're being selfish about it. It's really about like filling your own cup by knowing who you are, what you're worth, and then from that place being able to serve and give back to others. I cannot tell you how fulfilled I have been. I've come from a woman who was broken and depressed and had no vision or goals of her own because she was being pulled in all kinds of directions as to who she thought she had to be, to knowing who I am, knowing what I want, and knowing how to go out there and get it. It is fulfilling.
Awesome. Now, I'm pretty sure that someone listening to this, a young lady listening to this conversation, is so amped and inspired right now. If you had one gem or idea that you could share with a young lady who's aspiring to take the next step to hold on to her dream and vision and not succumb to the prevailing social repression, what would you share? How would you encourage, inspire a young lady today?
You know, I'd like to offer this message to young ladies, but to anyone really, and the importance of it, of just knowing who you are, of knowing your worth, and knowing that you're achieving whatever you set your mind to, because each and every one of us have greatness within us, you know. And the thing is, once you know who you are, your gender becomes really insignificant, because you're just authentically aligned to what it is that's inside of you. And at that point, you know, you can celebrate your femininity. You can say that I'm bringing more of myself out there. I'm bringing balance into the workplace. And women just have such a different perspective and way of dealing with things. And I really think that we should have a greater role in business and society, because we bring such a beautiful balance, such a great harmony into the workplace. And yeah, just embracing your femininity. I mean, I remember when I did my articles, my first job, I went out and I bought the greyest, dullest, most masculine suit that there was on the market. And I thought, okay, this is great. And I blend in and I blended into great obscurity. And since I've embraced who I am, okay, it's winter now. But I mean, I love color. I love wearing my floral dresses. I love bringing that color into the workplace and brightening people's day. And so the message is that there is absolutely nothing about being a woman that should hold you back in business.
I've seen you on stage, and I've seen some pictures of you on other stages. So I know that you've taken some steps to become a public speaker, or to at least speak in front of public. What has been your greatest lesson in taking those steps so far?
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, I think the first time that I stood in front of a crowd, it was quite a large crowd, and I wasn't 100% sure about what it was that I was going to say. But I just started speaking, and I started speaking from my heart. And as I was speaking, I could actually see, there was some people in the audience that were starting to sit up, and I could see one or two people's eyes sparkling, and I could actually see that there was something that I'd said that had touched the hearts, even if it was just one or two people in the audience. And at that point, I realized that it's so important to be the full expression of who you are, because when you do that, you give permission to other people to share their light. And you cannot hold back on that. If you have a gift to share, it's your obligation to share it.
Oh, thank you. You captured my favorite word, and that's permission. My journey is about giving myself permission to shine and to be my most authentic self. We've got a phrase at the project at the moment called my sacred self, and then sharing that and empowering people to do that. So what a wonderful gift that is. Thank you. You've taken control, you've made decisions, and I've heard you describe that actually you're doing stuff daily. So this is not just a once-off event, and the new Candice arrived and it's plain sailing. So here's a question. What does it take to make it work and keep it working?
Yeah, I think that goes back to, as you've mentioned, it's a lifestyle. It's something that you embrace, and it's a commitment that you make to yourself and those people in your life to show up to who you really are every single day, and to take active steps in being the best person that you can be, and really just going out there and finding the tools that will serve you in doing that. So it really is something that is very active, and I think it's imperative to have your daily practices of whatever it is that brings you back into that space of being the full expression of who you are. It's not something that you really just arrive at. It's a choice that you make to step into that each and every single day.
My name's Robin. We're chatting Women's Month and just enjoying this conversation about permission, about choice, and sharing a moment with someone, a lady who has made those choices and is actively making those choices every day and is demonstrating a life alive, empowered, and shining, and sharing her story. Candice Schultz, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.